Hi, Dan. Where'd they go? They were here 30 seconds ago.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6 o'clock, 6:05 on Monday, September 17th, 2018.
Can't hardly hear you, sir.
Speak in normal tone.
Denny, tap into
I'll
it.
try and yell a
There you
little
go.
louder.
Denny, tap into it.
Hold up to you.
As I said,
There we go.
we are calling to order the public hearing for case 2018-12P2. And as we begin, I have a couple of opening remarks I'd like to make. This is a very important hearing. There are people who have come here to make presentations, comment on the issues in question, and express their opinions. It is our intention as a board to give everyone who wishes to speak an opportunity to do so. At the same time, this hearing must be conducted in a manner that is organized, civil, and respectful to all parties. It is my job as president of this board to keep the proceedings moving at a reasonable pace and to maintain order. When it is your turn to speak, you will be sworn in. We'll actually cover that in more detail in a minute. There will be times when attorneys for either side might want to ask you questions in order to fully understand your views. We ask you to be as concise as possible in your remarks as a courtesy to everyone who has taken the time to be a part of this process. If someone has already stated your opinion or your position, you are welcome to tell us that you agree with so-and-so's comments if you so desire. In fact, we might even thank you for being so courteous. This is not a courtroom, but we will attempt to ensure that the atmosphere in this room is as respectful and dignified as a courtroom would be. And I will use the gavel if necessary if the proceedings get out of order. The result of this hearing is a very serious decision regarding the future of Sycamore Township. I ask all of you to join this board in treating this proceeding with the seriousness and the civility that it deserves. And now, as a first order of business, since we suspect that there will obviously be a lot of people wanting to speak, we're going to do a mass swearing in so that we cover that initially. So will anyone who wishes to speak at this hearing, please stand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings, so help you God? Thank you. And then we'll ask you, as you come up to speak, to just confirm that you did in fact participate in that swearing-in process, in case someone arrives late and was not a part of it. With that concluded, I would like to first turn this presentation over to Mr. Bickford, our administrator, who will present the case.
Okay, since this is going to go on for a while tonight, instead of going over the project twice, I'm going to read you the general statistics of the project, and then I'll turn it over to the applicant to go over the actual drawings. There's no sense in doing the same thing twice. So this, the properties in question are located on Happiness Way, Festive Court, and Kenwood Road. Address ranges 7887 to 7987 Kenwood Road, 4735 to 4797 Happiness Way, and 7959 to 7990 Festive Court. The proposed use, the current zoning is D multifamily. The requested zoning is D multifamily with a planned unit development SPI overlay district. Site in total is 7.259 acres, has frontage on Kenwood and Happiness Way. The applicant is proposing to raise the existing multifamily structures on the property to construct a mixed-use development, which includes the following: multifamily housing containing 258 residential units, approximately 117,000 square feet of office space, 16,000 square feet of retail space, 1,100 car parking garage with 101 surface parking spaces, and then 125 key hotel. That being said, that's the statistics of the development. I will turn over to the applicant to go through the drawings in detail so we don't duplicate that process.
Okay. Who would like to speak on behalf of the applicant?
I can stand following. Thank you. It's on. Can you hear me?
Louder here, we can't in the back here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is C. Francis Barrett. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Barrett and Weber. My address is 1201 Mercantile Center, 120 East 4th Street, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45202. I represent Capital Investment Group, and we're extremely pleased to be able to be here this evening and present what we think is a dynamic and very positive project for Sycamore Township. I'd like to just introduce some of the principals, representatives of our client, as well as some of the consultants who are here with us this evening. First of all, I'd like to introduce the CEO, Mr. David Bastos. David, if you back there so you can see David. He will not be presenting, but he's here to answer any questions that you may have. Also, Mr. Greg Fusaro. Greg is right here. He'll be presenting and giving the bulk of the presentation. Mr. Christian Dial, Christian's in the back there. He's also with Capital Investment Group. Consulting engineering firm is Wilford Consultants. Brian L. Smallwood. Where's Brian? There's Brian. He's a licensed professional engineer, PE designation. And behind Brian is John Wiley, also PE professional engineer, and the primary traffic engineer for this project. As you know, we've been through the public hearing process with Hamilton County Regional Planning Commission initially, and then the Sycamore Township Zoning Commission. Our client has had multiple meetings with the neighborhood and the residents. And again, as I mentioned, we believe this is an extremely dynamic and positive project, and the essential issues that have concerned the neighborhood we've tried to address, namely managing the traffic so it does not impact the single-family homes to the west, adequate buffering and screening, landscaping and planning, and the transitional nature of the development itself. As you know, this project is on the part of the Kenwood corridor. It's directly opposite the Kenwood Town Center, which is probably the finest regional mall in the entire tri-state area. Being directly across the street, we feel that we can complement that development and bring a very positive economic development to the township, which is going to be architecturally beautiful, well-designed, well-managed, and well-maintained. As Mr. Bigford indicated, the property is, although the underlying zoning is D multifamily, the overlay zone is the SPI, Special Public Interest Overlay Zoning District. That zoning district takes precedence over the underlying zoning. So if there's any conflict, any issues of interpretation, the SPI is controlling. And that is a zoning district that the Board of Township Trustees adopted legislatively for this entire area. Being in the SPI, the recommended use is mixed use, and in particular retail, office, residential uses, generally something complementary with the Kenwood corridor. As I mentioned, we looked at the traffic issues extremely closely. Traffic is a major concern, and I think we've adequately addressed the traffic as will be explained. There are many, many economic benefits to this project, and Mr. Fusaro will be going through those, which we think will be very positive. We're also most mindful of the interests and concerns of the neighbors. We believe this will have a positive economic impact on their home values. We believe that we can adequately buffer and separate our development from the single-family neighborhood to the west, and we believe that we can be very complimentary and respectful of their quiet residential neighborhood. Wilford Consultants has worked very closely with all of the county, township, excuse me please, and other agencies involved, Metropolitan Sewer District, Greater Cincinnati Water Works, Hamilton County Stormwater,
infrastructure, Hamilton County Soil and Water Conservation. As far as the public utilities, there's been consultation with Duke Energy for both the electrical and gas, consultation with the Sycamore Township Road Superintendent, Sycamore Township Fire Department, and just about every other agency that would be reviewing this project. So with those preliminary comments, I'm going to ask Mr. Greg Fusaro to come up. And Greg Bickford has already explained some of the statistics, that Mr. Greg Fusaro will give you the highlights and explain why we believe this is a well-planned, well-designed, and well-conceived project. Greg, if you'd please come forward.
Mr. Fusaro, just so that I get into the habit, could you please confirm for me that you have been sworn in?
Yes, I have.
Thank you.
Cardiff, for the record, I was not sworn in. I understand the law director and attorneys are not being sworn in. We're not giving testimony. We're just presenting on behalf of our clients.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to give you all a copy of the presentation that's made. The exhibits in the back are not part of the presentation. There are additional information that we can talk about depending on your desire to do so.
Excuse me, one moment, and I know there's at least one attorney in the room representing the residents, or some of the residents. Do you have a copy of this for him, or have you seen it, Mr. Mayor?
I have not.
Well, I mean, we don't have enough copies for everybody, but I at least want to get, it'll all be on here also? Yeah.
We'll go through all of it on
Okay,
screen.
thank you.
I just wanted to make sure you had written copies in. So as, first of all, we appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. And we're very excited about where we've come and where we hope that we're going in the future. And we really want to get into the detail tonight of this plan. There's been a lot of talk over a long period of time about what we're actually proposing. And so the PD submission packet that you received on the 29th is the entire data package. I'm going to go through that page by page, just so that if any of you have any specific questions, you can ask them now, so that I just want to make sure that you're clear on the details of this package that we've submitted to you. And then we'll also take a few minutes to talk about some of the mitigation measures that we've done in response to the many meetings that we've had with the residents in the neighborhood. So to get started, I guess I need my glasses. So this site is obviously located on Kenwood Road, south of Galbraith, north of Montgomery, and is basically a high-density commercial use location. Property is bounded on three sides by high-intensity commercial use. Commercial use for this site was anticipated when the SBI overlay district was put into place in 2004. Our proposed development uses attractive residential to transition for more commercial uses on Kenwood Road. This is an important element of what we're proposing, and I want you to keep that in mind as we go through further discussion. The proposed project that we're putting in front of you tonight is an extremely significant economic driver that adds jobs, housing, revenue, and supports existing businesses in the township while keeping property and school taxes at a low rate. A little bit about Capital Investment Group, because I think this is also important for you to know that we are a Cincinnati-based company. David, who is our president, and myself are the partners of Capital Investment Group. So the buck stops here with him and I. And if there's a question or an issue, we're the guys that make the decision. We live here. I'm born and raised in Cincinnati, and David's been here for about 16 years. So the company's here, and we're always here. And so we're not going anywhere, and we can be found at any time. We're a fully integrated real estate development, construction, and management company. We manage all the properties that we own, and historically we have constructed the properties that we've developed over the last few years. But we are a local company, and we are here all the time. The existing site conditions, basically, a little bit of repetition, but again, the site is bounded by Jewish Hospital, Mercy Hospital Group to the north. Kenwood Town Center is directly to the east of the site, and the Holiday Acres subdivision is to the west of the site. The buildings that are currently on the property are 1950s construction apartment buildings, between 4 and 6 unit buildings that really are functionally obsolete. We own them and are currently continuing to maintain them and lease them, but as time goes by, we will vacate those buildings. The site currently consists of 22 of those 4 to 6 family units, approximately 101 units in the total site. There are 22 parcels in this 7.2 acre site that we purchased between 2012 and 2018. 7.26 acres net, 1.86 gross. The next slide shows the existing zoning map for Sycamore Township, and you can see from the arrow that our site is underlying zoning of D multifamily, which is basically the use that is on the site at this point in time. Subsequent, the site's been zoned D for a long time. In 2002, there was a new land use plan that was put forth. And in 2004, this site effectively became rezoned when it was put in the SPI, SC Kenwood Montgomery Road Corridor Overlay. The SPI was put in place to establish and maintain areas of economic resources and center for community orientation. It was done in the best interest of the township to protect and enhance the features of public interest in business districts, and is primarily made up of commercial uses only. So the SPI was put into place in 2004 and was specifically designed to contemplate and accommodate high-density mixed-use developments such as what we're proposing. That was under section 8-4.3.4 of the Sycamore Township zoning code. That overlay specifically permits by right restaurants, hotels, offices, and residential. This was put in place by the trustees at the time because they envisioned the changes that would happen in this quarter, and of course those have come to pass. The SPI overlay district was put into place in 2004 by the then trustees, Cliff Bishop, Richard Kent, and Cletus McDaniel. So this occurred prior to the current trustees being in office. The key to the SPI district is that it specifically provides for building heights greater than 40 feet and impervious surface ratios over 50%. This next slide is really a kind of an overview, before I get into the detail, high-level look at our site plan items. And I think what's important to look at here is the way the site transitions from higher density commercial use to much lower density and residential use, so that we do provide not only a transition but a buffer between the more commercial uses from Kenwood Road into the single-family residential. On an overall basis, the hotel is 125 keys, approximately 99,000 square feet. It will also have retail on a portion of the first floor of the hotel. The office is approximately 117,000 feet, and these are gross square footages, not net. And it will also have some retail on the first floor. The apartments are 258 units and will be include a mixture of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom units. And while we haven't established rents yet, I can tell you that there'll be the highest rents in the suburban market within this area. Our history is that we build high-end luxury multifamily apartments, and we like to do them in the best locations we can find because that's the kind of product that we like to have in our portfolio. There are actually 2 parking garages as part of this development. The west garage, which is the light gray to the left side of this slide, is a multi-story freestanding garage, but more importantly, it's surrounded on 3 sides by multifamily units. So this type of product here is called a wrap product, and it's given that name because the multifamily wraps around the garage so that you see very little of that from the street. The other garage is basically in conjunction with the hotel and the office building. The surface layer of that contains approximately 100 parking spaces, and below that is 1 full level below the hotel and the office building, and then there's another half level at the northernmost part of the site. These garages accommodate not only the hotel guests and office users, but residents living in the apartments. And we've also designed the west garage to enable us to park 300 plus employees of the Jewish hospital. We have a preliminary letter of intent with them. They are desperately in need of parking, and so part of this overall plan is to provide parking spaces for Jewish. So I'm going to go into, for Greg's sake, but everyone's as well, just go into the submittal that we made to the township and just go through this. This first page is obviously just shows your project site and is an index for the rest of this PD submission. The next sheet is C1.0, which is basically the underlying zoning. So you can see that the property to the north of us is 00 office. Property to the west is